What is it? Oh, I get it. Is that why you're wearing an amulet of Mara? Look, you're great, really. But I just don't think that's for us. Especially not me. I mean, with my history, I still kind of get a chill walking by a temple. Can't imagine going in one.
Welcome to Nox's Library, and may I introduce, or rather reintroduce, Serana to you. Well, a modded version of her. Here's the original in case you need a reference, and I'm sure that she doesn't need much of an introduction to all you Elder Scrolls fans. As far as I'm concerned, she's one of the best examples of what Bethesda can do when they make a companion good. Sure, she doesn't have the more complex approval and disapproval system that debuted in Fallout 4, but she's still better than most of those companions, at least in my opinion. Although, that's not that hard when we've got Rain Man over here. And no, Preston, I don't care about the settlement that needs my help. I'm too busy playing Skyrim in 2025. Because no matter what else I play, nothing scratches that itch. Shout out to Nick Valentine though, he's a cool dude. And he stands out in a smaller pool of more complex companions in Fallout 4, but Serana is head and shoulders above literally everybody else in base Skyrim. So much so that she can still kinda keep pace with some modded followers. Her addition in the Dawnguard DLC changed Skyrim forever, in more ways than one, proving that Skyrim's companions can have more personality than a cardboard cutout. Okay, maybe that isn't fair. J'zargo is actually pretty funny. Ayla's reactions to different homes as a protective mother is a nice touch, and well, fainter than Sven is still simps. But Serana has a lot more going for her, both in terms of her writing and her coding. Let's talk about her writing first, because it's not something that Bethesda usually get credit for, and it helps her stand out from the admittedly mediocre crowd. For one, she's ingrained into the Dawnguard questline from practically the start, while most other companions tend to only be recruitable toward the end of specific questlines, think the companions for instance. And those that can be recruited earlier, like the other College of Winterhold students, don't have much of a bearing on the story. I mean, they have their own little quests, but they don't really do anything during the College of Winterhold storyline. Then we look at Serana, whose family is at the heart of the Dawnguard conflict, and her more complicated relations with both her mother and father are actually quite well done. I know it's weird giving Bethesda credit for some writing, but here we are. Her moral compass dictates that she has to help kill Harkon, but she does have mixed feelings about it, considering that Sun Hater over there is still her dad. She even conveys mixed feelings towards her mother, despite her being on the player's side, about how she never took into account Serana's feelings when embarking on a crusade against her father. It's some strangely compelling writing, especially for Skyrim, and it isn't something that Bethesda was able to emulate again for the game. It feels to me that Todd tried to do the same thing again with Freya in Dragonborn, and while I think she's pretty neat compared to most other companions, she doesn't hold a candle to Serana for several reasons. One, although she is heavily involved in the story and personally invested, there isn't any conflict here. Freya knows what she needs to do, doesn't feel that conflicted about it, even after her father gives her life to help stop Marak. There's just not as compelling a story here, compared to Serana, especially with how little she has to do by comparison. With the Dragonborn DLC being about Marak against the last Dragonborn, and Hermaeus Mora, a Daedric prince, playing Puppet Master, it all just feels too big for someone like Freya to actually have a big part. Another reason is the nature of why she's following you. The Dragonborn DLC story isn't necessarily long enough for the player to grow attached to Freya compared to Serana, and when the story is over and she offers to be a companion, she's taken her father's place as the Skal village's shaman. It feels weird dragging her away on adventures when she has a responsibility to her village. No, this isn't the case with Serana, and her little comments about going to certain areas, like commenting on Solitude's windmill, or saying how beautiful a location is, really makes it feel like she enjoys the journey and isn't just a glorified mule that blocks doorways. I mean, that doesn't stop her from blocking doorways though.
I just... Oh! Stewie! Oh! Look! Oh! Come on! Oh! I... Oh! Just... Oh! You... Oh! This is... Oh! Can I... Oh!
Still, as good as Serana's writing was for Skyrim, that's not the thing that changed the game forever. The Dawnguard DLC added a lot of general features, from crossbows to being able to actually fight on horseback, and it also introduced Serana's unique AI. You see, while a bunch of the big follower mods, like Lucian, Inigo, Remiel, Ori and so on, have surpassed what Serana has done from a writing perspective, the general climate of follower mods on Skyrim Nexus might not be the way it is without Serana's unique code. She's quite literally built different from other vanilla followers, and you may have noticed that she interacts with basically anything when you're just chilling, instead of standing around like a cardboard cutout. The idea is that she's able to switch to different AI packages based on where she is, and that allows her to interact with literally anything, in theory creating a more immersive experience. This code was then used by a bunch of follower mods to have them act more immersively, mainly for the early versions of frameworks like AFT. Our fan favourite follower mods might not be the way that they were had Bethesda not made the unique code for Serana. And while it might be obsolete by 2025 since, well, Dawnguard did come out well over a decade ago, there's no denying how important her inclusion was to the modding community when making some of our favourite follower mods. Sure, having her interact with literally anything in sight can take away from the immersion just as much as it adds, and she can literally get in the way. But this unique code had a domino effect that resulted in some of our favourite Nexus additions. Weirdly enough, with the Serana Dialogue add-on mod, or SDA, Serana has come full circle and become even more feature-rich, although her personality and voice do change quite a bit, so it's not for everybody. And while it's quite unremarkable now, it shouldn't be underestimated what Serana's code did for the community, and it wouldn't surprise me if she became a bit of a template for Bethesda titles after Skyrim, with a more complex personality and mechanics influencing more companions. It has led to Bethesda actually having companions that feel like people, react to quests, and having odd little comments for entering locations, which are all things modded companions do now. You may have also noticed that there's a smaller pool of companions. You don't get the mercenaries who are just sort of there in games like Fallout 4 and Starfield. The era of more complex Bethesda companions began with Serana, probably because Todd realised that she's very popular, partially because she has an actual personality and also because she's also a goth vampire princess, there is that. And while Bethesda haven't necessarily been able to replicate that popularity and consistently that level of quality, the modding community has been on it like a car bonnet ever since Serana's debut. Now I know all this glazing isn't going to help with the marriage proposals, although if you know her lore, it's probably best if you leave well enough alone, even if some of you freaks are too blinded by the vampire goth shtick. I also get that Serana's personality isn't for everybody, even if she is voiced by the talented Laura Bailey, but you have to understand, having a personality and actually showing it made her a big deal in 2012, as well as using literally every single animation that Bethesda had. So, in conclusion, thank you Dawnguard, for changing Skyrim forever. My follower list full of these lot, and my companion frameworks, all owe you a great deal.
And so the pack was born again, as the wolves of Yarbasker, to rule in life and serve in death, as the moonlight stars